It's recording. Here we go. Don't fall.
Team fun. Team fun.
I dabbed. That was gross.
No.
Hey everyone. We're here. Welcome to episode
6.
6. Episode 6. Leg 6. We'll say episode 5/6. Recap. Got some good stuff because as you know, we kind of finished with that first place. First place. You want to talk about camping and like the Norway drive?
Sure, yeah.
Awesome.
So we were the first ones to arrive at the Viking campground.
Oh yeah.
Which was beautifully set up for us. We all had our own very nice tents and sleeping bags set up for us. And we grilled hot dogs that night.
Oh, we totally did.
We had that shot of
So
aquavit. And
what was it?
Aquavit.
Oh, is that? I didn't know.
It's like this herbal spiced liquor.
I just turned 21.
Herbs. It was very strong. We camped right by this little lake thing in the beautiful, cool, chilly mountains of Norway.
Yeah.
And it was the only time we ever really got to camp on the race, which
Right.
I was pretty excited about because I like to camp, even though it definitely was a chilly night.
Yeah. There's also 24 hours of sunshine. So the sun never went down that entire night, which was insane. So like it was like sunny and it was like 2 a.m. and we're like, what's going on? So that messed with us a little bit.
Yeah.
If you notice, we all looked tired and like just disheveled this entire leg. That's because it was a keep racing.
We were pretty tired.
Yeah.
Didn't get amazing sleep.
Yeah. And then there was a point where we all put our tents are in that original configuration you see in the YouTube video. We actually all moved them in a circle around the campfire and just like talked as a cast. And it was actually awesome bonding experience. Probably one of my favorite experiences from the race. Because like everyone was just so chill and open and Norwegian.
I think we went on like a hunt for firewood and like took some from sitting outside a cabin.
Wait, you like stole it from a cabin?
I think so.
Cool. In the morning we get on that train. Someone said, I think Lennon and Chase said it was an 8-hour train ride.
8 hours?
I don't know if it was 8 hours.
No way.
Maybe it was.
I could not keep my eyes. I tried to keep my eyes open because it was so beautiful.
Gorgeous.
Through the mountains of Norway.
And as I was on the train, there was this like petite. First of all, we're taking the train to the Oslo airport to fly to Italy. So that's where we're training to. So there's this like petite Norwegian woman sitting next to me, super nice. And like, so I was just like sitting in my sleep, like, or sitting in my seat, just like sleeping like this. And like when I wake up, I'm like, my head just like on her shoulder. I'm pretty sure I'm drooling a little bit, but she's just like sitting there like, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I did not mean to sleep on you. You're a sweetheart. She was my pillow for a few hours, and she like didn't even care. I felt so bad. But they're really nice.
I heard people were putting things in my mouth because I had a mouth open.
We're great sleepers. Two phones, like, we're glorious.
We had like one of the only female taxi drivers in Italy. I don't know, in Milan. It was pretty cool to kind of see a little eye into this little Italian underground culture. Because while Floyd was doing the Roadblock, all these taxi drivers are just hanging out. They all know each other. They're all in on this little like counterculture, and they're also like trying to leave. And they were the whole time at the Roadblock. They were like we got rides to catch. Like we want to be making money right now. And we were like, oh, like please just like a little longer. We had no idea how long this ride around town was.
The Roadblock, that was awesome. That was fun. So each tram ride took like 30 to 40 minutes. They were long. There are a lot of red and yellow signs around, the world. Red and yellow is a popular color combination. So like a word that you heard all of us get on that first tram, and then also Logan got it as his other word, Savelli. There was this like red and yellow, it was like a pizza looking sign. And it was like a red and yellow sign early on in the ride. But then we realized that each one of the signs had like a marked race flag under it. So if you're ever on The Amazing Race and they say marked, usually that means it's race flag. That's what it means. Like literally that stripe combination, that's what it means to be marked. But everyone in that first tram did not see Lago, which was the last one. Why? I don't know. I have no idea. The slow head shake of no. We also kind of thought the signs themselves would be red and yellow, which the first two were. The Lago sign was completely white, and it had a marked flag under it. So that's probably why we think a lot of us missed it. Also, it's worth noting, I mean, I don't know if it's worth noting, but so you see Scott and me, or Scott comes up to me and says like, oh, are these your answers? And you can see he's intentionally trying to hide it from Vank and Redmond, by the way. Redmond was also not included. When we got back on the tram, while Scott was like looking or talking or doing something with the camera, I was actually working with Vank kind of under the radar because I felt bad. Like we like Vank, you know what I mean? Like we'll get into some more of that in a second.
After we all kind of got out of the roadblock at the same time, and so we drive. I don't know. It was kind of a long drive to get to Lake Como.
I had to pee.
Oh,
do you remember
you
that? Do you remember? Because I was like, I have to pee, and you're like, hold it in, Floyd. I'm like, okay, I got it, Becca.
I did not remember that.
I really had to pee.
Floyd really had to pee. Yeah, I mean, he just ate 2 meals and it's been a long time not peeing. We are on this driving race, and we get there at the exact same time as the boys, and Vank and Ashton were right behind us, but we pulled up the same time as the boys. We were kind of like trying to follow them, but also trying to navigate ourselves, and we were like, make sure we're going the right way, don't just follow them, you know, like trying to figure it out. And we got there and got our bags out of the car, and it was a full-fledged, intense foot race to the boat. Floyd has the quick feet. He was in the lead. Matt was right behind him. I was right behind Matt and Redmond. I remember being like right next to Redmond, and I was like, I'm gonna beat this guy. But it just feels really good to beat big burly men in foot races.
It was also one of the first. I think I remember that moment. I was like, wow, we can actually like take on Matt and Redmond like physically, you know, and like in like that respect. So we felt really confident in our running ability. We always had felt good in our running ability, but like that moment for me was like, dang, like we can do that. Because like originally I think Matt was a little bit ahead of me, and like so he started like booking it, and I was like, I'm not about to lose. So I was like, skirt.
You're like, I gotta pee so bad.
Probably the pee was driving.
And then we had that incredible display of food,
which I wasn't hungry for because I just ate 2 meals on the roadblock.
That was my first time eating beef tartare, raw beef. It was very delicious.
That's all good. Yeah.
And lots of desserts.
Yeah. And then
but there's always that balance of like, oh, you want to indulge, but it's also like, well, I want to make sure I'm feeling good and strong and healthy for this race.
Yeah.
Like, I was not about to stay up all night and drink wine like some people did.
It wasn't me, by the way, in case you're like, Floyd. No. It wasn't me. We slept on like the hard floor. Hard
benches.
Yeah, like benches or floors, like no blanket. I literally like took out a jacket, laid on it, put my head in my backpack, and like slept for a couple hours. And then in the morning, like, because the engine, like the boat's engine or whatever, were like giant pistons. Yeah, that's what I'm looking for. We're like right there.
They were in the main room. It was so wild.
So like I wake up and it's just like loud mechanical. And I'm like, how did I sleep through that?
I was out on the deck the entire Lake Como cruise.
Because to watch it.
Yeah.
And to see how beautiful it was.
The houses and the...
Did you not sleep at all?
No, I slept for like an hour or two. Okay. I don't know how long we were actually docked for. We docked. And we're all released at our respective times. And so we were kind of wandering around this town, and then Mike and Liz saw us being lost, and they helped us out and told us which direction to go. And then we found the U-turn board and saw that they had U-turned Vank and Ashton, and we complied with the plan to U-turn to lock in Vank and Ashton into that U-turn. Doesn't feel good to like target a team like that, but it also is it is part of the game. And if that's what, like, it's not just following the crowd, but Vank and Ashton were surely presenting themselves as quite a threat at that point. Ashton is super duper sneaky. She was on every single opportunity asking for people's phones and in the corner scheming with Tara and scheming quietly. In a team like Matt and Redmond, people think, oh, they're such a big threat, but you can see why they're a threat very externally. It's like very obvious. They're just strong.
And that's what America sees, basically.
But you don't see like these other teams, Tara and Joey and Ashton and Vank, you don't see how much of a threat they are because it's all very sneaky and behind the scenes, and you don't. Like,
makes you nervous.
It's like the kind that like we were just like, we don't like this at all.
Yeah.
We don't know what's going on. We don't feel we can trust these people. So therefore, we're gonna try and give them the boot.
Yeah, it's unfortunate because like we see how that makes it look like we were bullying them. And first of all, like like as a cast, we're sorry about that. We all love Meg. We all love Ashton. And we're sorry that you thought it was bullying or it came off like that. That's a serious issue. We promise you that was not at all what we were thinking.
No, we buddies.
It had nothing to do with like not like, at least for us, because there are some things that were said at different points in that episode that were interesting. But for us, it was it had nothing to do with not liking them. We legitimately like thought they were threatening, you know? Like they're smart, they're physical, they're capable. Like they're not a bad team, right? And then like at that moment when we got to that U-turn board, it was actually, at least to us, it was the smartest decision to U-turn them, right? Because we either could have U-turned a different team. Well, if we U-turned Matt and Redmond, they left before Becca and Ashton, and it's likely that they would have. It's possible that they would have beaten.
They probably, they would have.
Yeah, so then we have a Matt and Redmond who are not
Team
necessarily
Lolo would have been gone.
Yeah. If we had U-turned Brooke and Scott or Team Lolo, a weaker team, Vake and Ashton, who's a stronger team, would have still been around, right? So like therefore, and like if we had U-turned nobody, it's possible Matt and Redmond or Vake and Ashton would have U-turned Lolo or Brooke and Scott.
Yeah.
Therefore, again, a weaker team probably would have been gone, and therefore the stronger Vake and Ashton team would have been in. So to us strategically, with that specific hand we were dealt in that situation, we couldn't control what Tara and Joey or Mike and Liz did, but in that moment for us, the strongest team remaining that could have gotten out was Vake and Ashton. So therefore, that's why we went through with
And Tara and Joey were in first place, so we couldn't even...
Yeah, they were already ahead of us. And then, people argue Mike and Liz are also strong, but they were also ahead of us. So we couldn't U-turn ourselves, because even though that mold challenge looked kind of fun, but I want to talk about the climb detour?
Yeah,
how awesome that was?
I was so excited.
Yeah.
What about I read grab a hold? I actually I was exclaimed ecstatically
when she opened the clue. And I was surprised they didn't air part of that.
Yeah.
She was like, I was like, yeah, that's the one we're doing. So
we got in that super nice boat and we take it to
super nice boat.
Yeah.
$750,000 is how much I think they each cost.
Really?
That's
I thought they were millions.
Oh, they might be millions actually. They told us like
I don't know,
an insane
really
amount.
nice boats.
Yeah, we're just like chilling in the back of it, racing.
And cool. We get to, so we dock and we ask for directions as soon as we get there. This guy running is super excited to help us, and he, as you saw, points us in the wrong direction, even though like the same way Matt sort of was like, wait, like, aren't we supposed to just follow this? I definitely had that inclination, like, wait, it said just follow this, and for whatever reason we were stupidly convinced to go into this town, and we wandered around the town blocks for a little bit, and I was finally like, this is not right, like, we need to go back to a marked path. Mm-hmm. It's very easy to convince yourself that maybe you're going the right way. Mm-hmm. And we got there, and put on some climbing shoes. I was so excited, but also didn't really have time to enjoy it. I mean, you saw we got there and like hugged Matt and Redmond. Yeah. They were like, yeah, we're in first.
But
like,
we're also
crushing
like,
it.
oh shoot, we're against them.
Like we're against them. So did like rapid speed climbing.
It was so fast.
And rapid speed come down, trying to enjoy it.
You saw I could barely keep up with the belay. She's like, "Four more slack." I'm like, trying not to kill her. Or like, even though you totally could have done it without any rope, I bet. Do you think you could have just like free climbed that?
Yeah, but
easily?
It's
dangerous.
I wouldn't have been so high. I probably wouldn't have done it so fast.
Right. Like, I might die. How hard of a climb was it in climber terminology?
In climber terminology, I believe they put up. They were like 5/8. I asked at one point, because it's hard to find like the exact same graded climb all right next to each other, so they were all within a similar range of like 5/7, 5/8.
And that's like easy climb.
I mean, it's definitely like on the lower end of things, but still like can obviously be challenging for people who have never climbed before. Yeah. Because you definitely have to find where the holds are. They don't it's not just holds everywhere. There's little, I mean, you saw there's like bushes growing out of this rock, and there's little pockets, so it was definitely a little bit thoughtful. And
she killed it. You blasted up that foofing.
Blasted up it, caught up with Matt. I was feeling like I couldn't see him the whole time, but I was just going as fast as I could. Yeah. And then they left the roadblock right before us, and then this boat race was just epic.
And it was a long run also,
Yeah.
by the way. You see zero of the long runs we do.
Yeah.
But man, it's a long run.
It's like, yeah, we're running for a long time,
Yeah.
back down this path, trying to keep up with them, just like words of encouragement, like,
Yeah.
stay strong,
Go,
we're racing for first, like,
Yeah.
keep it up,
Yeah.
stronger, faster.
Yeah.
So then we get in these boats,
$1 million boats.
$1 million boats,
Just
and
saying.
now it's a boat race, and the goal is that we need to once we see Phil on the shoreline, we say, we see Phil.
Yeah.
Then the boat will turn around and
Yeah.
pull over. And so we have our eyes peeled. We're also right behind Matt and Redmond,
Yeah.
so we're kind of looking out for them to turn around.
Mm-hmm. We were hoping, we were crossing our fingers they
Yeah.
miss it.
And
You're like,
we-
no, it's not Phil, it's a random New Zealand dude on
Yeah.
the shores of Lake Como.
And we saw them at the same time. They were slightly ahead of us, so it was these big round turns, and like it really, we were behind them. It was
Yeah.
clear that we were behind them.
But at that moment, we knew we could beat them in a foot race. So we're like, it's good, we never gave up, right?
They pulled up well before we did, but as you could see, their boat guy was not as skilled at parallel parking as
No.
ours was, and he just missed the dock. Like, he was a few feet away from the dock,
Yeah.
just far enough that Matt and Redmond could not jump out of the boat.
Right.
And so we pulled up, and I was like, I was like, go, go,
I
go,
was like, no, are you sure? I was like, okay.
go! Like, and we got out of that boat and ran to the pit stop and claimed our first place.
First place?
And it felt really,
First place?
really good.
Argentinian
good.
vacation.
Really good.
Really
It just
good.
feels so good
Yeah.
to like win in a moment with
Yeah.
such closeness.
Yeah,
you could tell how bummed they were to lose.
Right. But at the same time, yeah, they were bummed. But at the same time, like, Matt and Redmond, like, loved us. Like, they're probably a team we were closest with on the
Definitely.
race. And, like, they said,
Front
like,
runners stick together at
Yeah.
heart, you know?
and, like,
We're hanging out all the time. Too.
yeah, because, like, that's all you see. No, and we told them, like, I remember Redmond said to us at one point, like, running against you guys is just so fun. Because, like, we're competing, but it's just, like, so fun. And it's like, yeah,
we push
do.
each other to try our hardest. And
Yeah.
we're a similar type of competitors
Yeah.
in terms of like being pretty out in the open of,
Yeah.
of where our skills are.
Right.
We're
Yeah.
not being super sneaky or anything.
Right. We're just going.
We're just
going
trying to
home.
powerhouse
And they're really
through.
fun. They're really fun people.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it was because we were like, okay, you don't want to U-turn someone without them getting out, right?
Yeah, oh,
so
yeah.
we remember we were actually doing our like post episode,
Oh, yeah.
like our post interviews talking about the day, and like we could see the lake, right? So we could see people pulling up, and it was like there were only two teams left, and there was Logan in London and Bank and Ashton, and we were like,
we're like
low.
they
Like,
could totally F this up.
And if you watch London's recap, she makes it sound like that. Bank and Ashton were actually kind of close
Yeah.
to beating London and Logan, and we don't know.
I think it was probably like 10-15 minutes.
Yeah, which is so close,
Still
right?
pretty close.
So we're just like we were like literally away, like literally in the middle of one of our interviews, we see that final boat of like safety pull up. We're like, who's in it? And we see it's Logan and London. We're like, thank goodness.
It worked.
Yeah. Again, we're not bullying.
Sorry, yeah.
We're not bullying Meg and Ashton. It's just no matter who you U-turn, it literally could have been
They
anyone.
need to go.
Could have been literally
Yeah.
any other team. We don't, I just don't want to see them again, just because. In that moment, it's a little awkward. So, yeah, that's it. Okay. Sheer and Dance says, did you guys decide on pursuing the fast forward challenge, knowing that if you couldn't perform the unknown challenge ahead, you would have the express pass as backup? No, that's not just like.
No, we knew there's no challenge we cannot accomplish.
That was our mentality. We knew we were not allowed to use the express pass on the fast forward.
True. We asked about that.
We asked. We were like, what if? Like, we had no idea.
In the race.
Yeah.
In the beginning of the leg, we asked.
Also, a lot of people are saying like we should have used our express pass. But we see how we could have. But at the same time, you see how these U-turns work. You don't want any reason to be on anyone's radar. So therefore, we 0% regret our decision to not use it.
Yeah, people were. There was some talk I know on Justin and Diana's podcast about like we would have totally like hustled like given that express pass away. Why would you give the express pass away? Why would you give someone else an advantage for no good reason, just for the sake that maybe they'll help you in some form in the future? But like the whole goal is like, yeah, sometimes it's nice to have help, but like ideally you don't need help.
Especially with these 3 U-turns. We were all aware of the U-turn situation from the start line. And
like,
also,
we don't want any reason why people are going to be like, oh, they're sketchy.
And to comment on why, like, a lot of people are like, it's interesting that the U-turns are before the detour instead of, like, after completing one side. I mean, I agree. I think that's interesting. But what it did for our season was it made it more social in a way that other seasons haven't been. And therefore we had to play a social game in a way that maybe previous seasons didn't necessarily have to. Again, like, I agree that it's weird that the U-turn board is before the detours, but that's just how it was, and therefore that's how we had to change.
And I don't know if they explain this. I don't feel like they explain this on TV, but the rule is normally that if you can only use 1 U-turn per race. And so if you U-turn someone on the first U-turn board, then you've used your 1 U-turn. But this time they made it so teams could use unlimited amounts of U-turns.
Yeah.
Which definitely just like raised the stakes a bit,
right,
and made everything just a bit more nerve-wracking.
Right. Bethany Corinne asks, "I've always wondered about meals. Can you tell us how that works?" So while the leg is going on, we obviously don't want to stop and eat, right? A lot of the times I didn't really feel hungry during the legs. We each brought some like power bars and stuff to kind of keep us through in case like during the leg itself we were actually hungry. Most of our meals came from the airplane. And
super salty.
The airplane, and then every now and then we might spend some money in an airport to eat while we wait for flights. We didn't necessarily do that a lot, though.
Now we're fed at pit stops.
We're fed at pit stops, yeah. I don't see the specific person who asked this, but this is one that's been commented a lot, so we'll both answer it. Who would we have chosen if we didn't choose each other? Who were our initial first choices at the starting line? For me, I actually don't know. I looked at Matt, because I had no idea about his life. Obviously, he's athletic and amazing. I didn't know that, though. Honestly, I looked at him because he looked young, like me, and he looked like a homie, right? So, like, I felt like he'd be chill, we could relate. It was purely at that moment an age thing, purely a background thing. And then London was my other choice, simply because I came in right after her. And, like, so because I literally did not think about this until I got back. So like I put my suitcase down right next to her, and she like smiled at me, and I was like, oh, she smiles. Okay, that's good. I'll choose London. So, or she would have to have chosen me. So I think those were the 2 people I was looking at.
I had had no expectation to actually choose anyone, and so it was very I was like, oh my gosh, I have no idea who I want to be partnered with. Matt was definitely at the top of my list, though. He's cute, and athletic.
He's real
such a
cute.
cutie. That little blue strip.
Yeah, dude. Ooh,
boy,
dang.
Dang.
We're gonna have
run my fingers through your blue strip in your hair.
Yeah, so that's why I should want to choose Matt, because that blue strip, just normal hair is like, ew, no, you're gross.
And then I was looking at all the strong men, so definitely Seth was on my radar. Logan was on my radar, but then he came in so late at that first challenge that I was like, meh. I think I would have been really successful with a number of different people.
Yeah,
but
same.
I don't know if I would have. I don't know if anyone else would have freestyled. No. I don't know if. Yeah, no. And that's really like kind of first criteria.
Oh, shucks.
So thanks, Floyd.
Yeah,
I think we did well. Yeah, team fun. It would just wouldn't have been the same.
Yeah, this would not have happened.
We would not be sitting next to each other, so close to each other.
No,
we're
touching shoulders,
touching legs.
Yeah, we're touching legs. That's how you know.
But don't worry, people. I know lots of you want us to get married. I'm sorry to break America's hearts, but it's just not going to happen.
No, I already have a girlfriend. I mean, Becca's cool and all, but we're just homies.
We're good friends.
Yeah. So.